Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is this little gift box. I've used the Sailing Home stamp set together with a couple of images from the Label Me Bold stamp set, and I've also used the Come Sail Away Designer Series paper. Now, the base of the box here is in Night of Navy, but throughout the video you'll see me create one in soft suede. I didn't actually like it when it was finished, which is why I created another one. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you are interested in reproducing it, you can take a screenshot and refer to it later. As I said before, the lid and the base in this video will be in different colours. So the base will be in soft suede and the lid will be in Night of Navy. I'm going to start by scoring the base pieces. Now you want to place it onto your scoreboard with the longest side at the top, and I'm going to score down at 1.5 inches, 3 inches and 6 3/8 of an inch. So that's 1.5, 3 and 6 3/8. Then I'm going to rotate the cardstock so the short side is at the top, and I'm going to score down at 1/2 inch. If you prefer to use metric measurements, then you'll need to score down at 3.8 centimeters, 7.6 centimeters and 16.2 centimeters. And then on the short side, score down at 1.3 centimeters. The lid goes into the scoreboard with the long side across the top. Now the first measurement I can't score with my scoreboard, it's 1 9/16, so I'll do that later. So I'm going to score down at 3 1/8 of an inch and 6.5 inches. Then I'll rotate the cardstock so the short side is at the top and score down at 1/2 inch. So again, I'm going to score down at 3 1/8 and 6.5, and then turn and score at 1/2 inch. I'm going to use my trimmer to make the final score line on my lid pieces. Now when you place them into the trimmer, you want to make sure that you've got that 1/2 inch narrow section on the right hand side. You're going to score on the left hand side at 1 9/16 of an inch. Again, if you prefer to use metric measurements, then you need to score these pieces at 4 centimeters, 8 centimeters and 16.5 centimeters, and then on the short side at 1.3 centimeters. I'm using tape adhesive to put this box together, and I'm going to apply the tape onto the 1/2 inch sections. Now I'm placing it close to but not touching the score lines. So you've got one long section and then you've got the shorter section. And for the base of the box, the tape is applied on the right side. The tape for the lid is slightly different. Now you want to put the long strip on the wrong side. Again, it goes close to but not touching the score line. And then on the short side, it goes on the right side of the cardstock. I can now fold on that long score line and reinforce with my bone folder. Next, I'm going to do some cutting along the bottom edge, and this is the same for all the pieces. So I've notched the side edge, and then wherever I have a vertical score line, I'm going to notch either side of it on that bottom section. Now on the left hand side there's a little square section which I'm going to remove completely before notching the other 1/2 inch sections. And now I'll repeat that for the other 3 pieces. I can then go ahead and fold on all the vertical score lines and reinforce those with my bone folder. I'm now going to remove the backing from the adhesive on one of the side pieces and join the 2 sections together to create one long strip for both the base and the lid. I've cut 4 of the stitched nested label dies, 2 for the base and 2 for the lid, and I used the largest die for this. I'm going to put together the base of the box first of all, and I'm going to start by removing the backing from all of the adhesive. The base of the box will be slightly smaller than the lid, so we're going to attach the sides differently. Now the nested label die cut needs to have the wrong side uppermost, and you're going to attach the edges to the score line on the base of the side piece. It's a bit fiddly to do and get the camera to show it, but all I'm doing is aligning the edge of the die with that fold line on the bottom of my side section, and then it's just a case of lining up each straight edge on the die cut with your side sections, and you just want to press them together gently because you might have to do a little bit of adjustment when you've gone all the way round. So just take each piece in turn and attach it. When you come to the end, you want to make sure that the side tab is folded inwards and just press that together as well. If you're happy with how it's all gone together, then from the inside you can press down to make sure everything's stuck nice and securely. If you're not happy, you can gently pull the pieces apart and reposition them. I can now remove the backing from the adhesive on the lid side section. Now remember the lid will be slightly bigger, so I'm going to attach it in a slightly different way. This time the die cut will be right side up, so I'm going to stick the side section underneath to the wrong side of the die cut. And again, I'm lining the die cut up with the fold line in the side section. And once I've aligned it, I'm just going to give it a little press so it stays in place while I continue right round to the end. Again, you want that side tab tucked inside, and then just give it a light press to stick it in place. Now, if you're happy, you can go from the inside and give everything a good press down again. Obviously, if you're not happy, just untack the sides and reposition them. So when you've finished, your lid should have the unfinished side on the outside, and your base should have the unfinished side on the inside. And the extra 2 die cuts that we made will cover each of those. Now you can place your lid onto your box just to check that it fits. You might have to squeeze in the base slightly, but you shouldn't get any buckling at all. I can now go ahead and add the extra die cuts to the top of the lid and the inside of the base. This is the Sailing Home stamp set, and I'm going to use the lighthouse and the birds today. I'm stamping on a scrap piece of Whisper White card, and I'm going to use Night of Navy ink to stamp my lighthouse. I'm going to use soft suede ink together with an aqua painter to add just a little colour to my image. And then I'll cut this out by hand. I've then added dimensionals to the reverse. This is the Label Me Bold stamp set. I'm using these two images to create a background. I'll be using Night of Navy for the sea and Balmy Blue for the sky. Each time I stamp, I'm going to stamp off first of all to make the colour just slightly lighter. And then I'm going to use another of the nested label dies, this is the third size down from the largest, to die cut my panel. I'm going to use soft suede ink to stamp the birds, and I'm just positioning my lighthouse on the panel to get an idea of where I want to stamp them. I'm using some of our baker's twine across this panel, and this is going to be the Night of Navy and Sahara Sand twine. And to attach this, I'm using some more tape adhesive. So I'm just adding 2 small strips to the reverse of this panel, and then I'll remove the backing. I'm going to cut 2 lengths of the baker's twine, just long enough to wrap around the front of this panel. And then I can position them, securing the ends on the reverse. I'll then remove the excess and add some additional strips of tape adhesive over the top to make sure it's nice and secure. Then I'll remove the backing. I'm going to remove the sticky by using my embossing buddy. I'm going to cut another small length of twine, and I'm going to knot this onto the left hand side. Then I'll trim the ends and fray them just by unravelling the threads. I'm going to add one of the sail away trinkets to the front of this panel, and I'm using the ship's wheel. I'm securing this with some of our mini glue dots, and I'm going to use 4, and I'm just folding these in half and adding them to the reverse of the trinket. Then I can remove the backing from the dimensionals on the reverse of the lighthouse and position this. For the top of the box, I've got my completed panel and a soft suede mat, and I've added dimensionals to the back of both of these. I used another of the stitched nested label dies for the soft suede mat, and this is one size down from the largest. So now I can remove the backings from the dimensionals and place my image panel onto the soft suede mat, and then remove the backings from the dimensionals on that and position it onto the lid of my box. All I then need to do is add the designer series paper to the sides of my lid. And that's it. That's my little box complete. And of course I had to make a coordinating card to go with it. Now I made the topper on this card in exactly the same way, I just used larger dies to cut it out. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.